Good evening, guys. Good afternoon. Welcome back to another episode of High Top Sports. We are doubling it up today. It's a doubleheader. We had our Florida Gator show earlier this afternoon, so you haven't seen it, go check that out. We talked depth chart, Billy Napier, and all good stuff. But today we're talking all things NFL with, of course, my co-host of the evening, Mr. Cody, a.k.a. The Professor. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach.
What's up?
How are you, sir? Welcome to the show. Happy Sunday. We're almost there, Cody. We're almost there, big guy.
We are so close, man. Had did a little farm work today. Almost had a heat stroke out there. It was brutal, and me and the wife had a good date night last weekend. So weekend is going great, man. And we got a little football in there, and we got a little football later tonight. So.
And we're going to close it strong with the great, fantastic show here. Clint Clement says, I'm here, Sheldon. Shit, what's up, baby? Welcome to the show. Kenny Hawthorne says, let's go Gators, let's go Steelers. Boys, welcome to the show. Happy to have you here. Drop a like, subscribe if you are new. And let's dive right into it. Mr. Anthony Richardson, ladies and gentlemen, did not play. Sat out against the Bears this past weekend. Thoughts, Cody?
Yeah, man, I don't love it. For a team that said that it's reps, we got to give him all the reps. You sit him out, and I don't know if he's got a injury that they're not trying to disclose, or if they think he's ready. After what I saw during practice and the last preseason game, I don't think he's ready. And actually, I talked about this on our date night. One of my cousins is a former D1 quarterback for Air Force and Dartmouth, and he said, that AR's problem is he's always off platform because the offensive line is so bad. So I don't know what they're doing right now in Colts Nation. I think you got to play him, right?
Yeah, look, I mean, I know we're gonna get a lot of flack. People are tired of the AR hate. I'm not here to hate on the young man. We did see him practice Tuesday against the Bears, where he went 11 for 11, which you and I kind of read in our words, because we have been extremely critical of Anthony. And in an interview, the head coach said that he felt that was that scrimmage was a real game. So that he was implying that game acted as their second preseason game. And I get that, right? I can acknowledge that. Like, that makes sense. However, if that is the case, I would feel like, okay, well, we're getting an extra leg here by getting another starting game to throw him in to get him reps. Again, the only people to be fair, that have been stressing the reps, now I don't know if the coach, but we have, clearly, simply due to the fact that he's only had 13 official starts in college, because of the Georgia one, which I'm not really counting. So I would feel that the more repetition and just getting in the rhythm of jogging out onto the field. The other part of it, just because of how much Irsay Jim has had his hand in this entire situation, is it was their debut in Indy, and maybe he didn't want to take away from that first real start in Indianapolis. Does that make sense? And again, I feel bad for the fans that went there to go watch him. And Justin Fields didn't play either. And this is the preseason, man. I mean, it's hard to even watch a preseason game. Like, people want to get excited, but it's worse than practice, to be honest with you. I feel at least with practice, I know they're not getting hit, but at least I get to see the stars in action. With this, I don't get any of that. You get to see a lot of potential. You see the future, so that's the good stuff. But unless you're Indy and you sit down, you sit Anthony, I expect him to play week 3.
Yeah, I would too. And my thing is I get, Mr. Nobody just said it in the comments too, with the, they sound because of the scrimmage against the Bears. But this kid needs all the reps he can get. And that's what they said the entire preseason. So they kind of go back on what they were saying for what? For to sell out, week 1 against whoever at Lucas Oil. Like, is it Is it for Anthony or is it a marketing scheme? Is my question.
Meaning, just let's try to create the hype for week 1, his first official time. I think that's what it is. I think that's what it's boiling down to. More of just getting butts in the seats. I feel like this entire season is going to be that. Look, Anthony's a phenomenal guy. That there's the thing that the thing that's trending right now is that they had to force him to leave because he was staying too long, signing autographs, signed some cleats. So I'm excited, man. I'm really hoping. A buddy of mine in our league last night drafted Anthony Richardson as his number 1 quarterback. Like that's his quarterback, QB1. I don't think he has a second quarterback on stat. Yeah, like the likes of Kirk Cousins are still there. Codes.
That's a big swing.
Kirk Cousins is still on the board, mind you. So I know it's going to sting there, but as much as we love Anthony, will we take them as QB1 in our fantasy football league? In a league of 10, mind you. It wasn't like 12, 14, 16. We're talking about a league of 10.
I'm not. I'm not, just because he's not proven. And
QB2 for sure, with a lot of upside.
Guys, I'm tired of this. I'm just gonna say this. I'm tired of Colts Nation saying that we're hating on. We love Anthony. We're Florida fans. We love him. You interviewed him. We love him.
We're trying to be realistic. We're trying to keep it in between the lines here.
Yes, for sure. And it's one of those things where, he's in my state. I would love to see him ball out and get some interviews with him later on down the year. That's something I'm going to be working on. I might have an inside track on that. So, it's one of those things, like I'm not going to get on this podcast and bash him every week, but I just want to be, I don't want everybody to come on here and think that we're just pumping sunshine all the time. Like we're going to call a spade and sitting Anthony out, I think just this one game is a detriment. Now that we are seeing what Zach Wilson is doing under Aaron Rodgers,
he looked good, man.
I think he looked good. I think it's a detriment. I think it's a detriment to AR, and I think it's a flawed concept by Jim Irsay, and that doesn't surprise me by them. We talked about it on draft night, right? That he's going to go to Jim Irsay. Just couldn't not pass Anthony up for the potential.
What's unfortunate is these young quarterbacks. It's not necessarily even their fault with their lack. Like even Trey Lance. I mean, he's out there losing his job in San Francisco now. It's just the young kids are getting thrown into these situations with poor management. I mean, it's just a bunch of billionaires throwing money around, trying to control their own fantasy team in a sense, and it's ruining the young man's careers in the process. The Browns have been a blueprint of how to ruin somebody's career. The Colts have always had success, so I don't know if they're, I'm not putting them into that category, but I mean,
really though, they lost Andrew Luck during a preseason game because the offensive line was so bad. He was like, "Nah, I'm good." They haven't really had success. Yeah, they haven't had success since Manning.
That's fair. That's fair. They definitely haven't been what they were. That's a good point, but. I think they, at some point, if I'm Anthony, I'm like, look, you're taking this away from me. But did you see his swagger though? When he showed up to the game he wore the Colts versus Bears Super Bowl jacket from when the Colts beat the Bears in the Super Bowl. I love that. I love the shot at it. So Phoenix Riser says starting O-line didn't play. They didn't want to risk it. And look, I don't think that. And that's kind of what we're stating.
The starting O-line should have played because they are terrible. They need all the reps they can get too. Not trot Anthony on the field, but they should have definitely played. Thanks for the super chat, Phoenix.
Yeah, thank you, boss. And I want you to keep that in your mind when we talk about Kyle Trask in the Bucs and who's starting there with that exact same mindset. Keep that thought when we move into that. But I get it, and you don't want to risk your main player getting hurt. And I talked about that today's show because with the Gators content, because Cam Carroll obviously blew his knee out, Justice Boone, and Billy was getting the heat from the pressers about, hey, like, why are you doing practice? Should you do what in the NFL is doing, sitting guys out? It's a different world, though. And he basically said, he's like, we need the reps. Like, this isn't like the NFL where we're just with a slew of talent. We've got freshmen here that are coming from high school that need to practice. This is part of the game. It's part of it. And injury, you don't want to say like it's always going to happen, but you have to expect those things. It's just part of the way it goes. So, Jim Ayers has been worse than Jerry Jones lately. That's what I'm saying, bro. I feel like he's coming out of the woodworks here with trying to on one-on-one on how to ruin your organization with the Jonathan Taylor situation. And now this, it's like, bro, just shut up for a minute. I understand you own the damn team, but put the ego to a side here. You're blowing things out of proportion. But
yeah, we've been watching a show about that, right?
well, yes. I mean, he does it pretty well though on that show.
Yeah.
But he's a man with it.
Good show.
Moving on. Jaguars, boys look good, man. You got a lot of flack on last week's show because of your criticism. I tried to save you a little bit, but they weren't having it, and you have more positive to talk this time.
Yeah, for sure, man. Tank looks like running back 1 to me. And I have a new combo instead of Thunder and Lightning. It's TNT.
I saw you write that, and I go, I haven't heard that yet. I could like, is Cody onto something here, boys?
Yeah, TNT, because it's dynamite combo right there. Man, these guys, I think they should split the carries 50-50. I think it'll save a little wear on ETN, and I think it's going to be probably I almost say this is probably one of the best 1-2 punches that I've seen in running back duo in a long time. And I tell you, man, Tank is just, he broke off a 25-yard run during the preseason game, and he just looks like the guy. Now he did get stuttered a little bit during a short yardage deal, but you're working with the 2's offensive line. So when you get the 1s in there, it may be looking a little different. What do you think about that?
Tanks, Jahmyr Gibbs, and possibly Bijan Robinson are the exact reason why the likes of Dalvin Cook, Zeke, Leonard Fournette had a hard time finding a job, still having a hard time finding a job, because Tanks Bigsby was a 5th-round draft pick and out there looking like an absolute dog, running over everybody. And like you said, looks like running back 1. And I know ETN and Doug's Pederson, for his goal is to have over 1,700 yards, but Tanks is going to be chewing at every bit of that in a good way. And look, the team looks absolutely exceptional. They look just like a well-oiled machine, which fires me up. But yes, Tanks is exciting to me. And look, this draft is really, I think, you really can't give it a full grade, a draft pick, until after that first year. And we've talked.
I give it an A. I give it an A right now.
Of what you've seen thus far, right? I mean, you got to you got to be
Harrison. The cornerback that you guys got is a damn stud. Now you just take those 3 picks. That's an A. And then Tank, like, yeah,
cherry on top.
You hit on them. Yeah, and we screamed for a lot of other guys, right, during the draft.
That's why we're behind the mics, right, Cody?
Well, I don't think we're wrong. I don't think we're wrong on JPJ or Osiris Torrance at all. They just went a different route because of needs that they knew internally that they were going to have.
Sure.
That we don't have that inside info. But man, I tell you, this draft class, and as a Vikings fan, my draft class the year prior has gotten an F. Lewis Cine hurt, and he's not doing great things. The cornerback that we drafted out of Clemson, Booth Jr., he's hurt. You get an F, and you can't. When you whiff on a whole draft class like that, that puts you 2 years behind.
Sure.
Because you can only make up in free agency so much.
And it's exciting to see this draft class, Tanks being kind of, I feel like the leader right now currently, just because, I mean, it's a spicy spot that we're watching a lot of, is leading the charge in this being a really healthy draft class. But on top of it, we had a big signee this offseason too in the running back room for the Jaguars. So everything is just coming together to be a really good season for them. But yeah, I'm beyond excited for what Tank's going to be able to do. Hell of a name for a running back too. I mean, you can't draw it up any better than that.
For sure. And Muddy Water, we're going to get to this here in a second. Just give us 10 minutes. We're going to get to your comment because it's in there, bud. Secondly, Zay Jones steps up and makes a beautiful over the shoulder catch on a one-on-one. Yeah, on the deep he did. So what he did was like a slant and go or slant fade is what some people call it for a 20-yard plus catch. And man, you talk about a guy that can stretch the field. This guy is going to be something. this year. He is really going to be something, and it was the perfect catch, the perfect ball right over his shoulder. I think we're going to see a lot of that versus a lot of teams. They went deep a lot last week that we saw, and a couple of the balls were dropped, but it seems like the wide receiver room has cleaned that up. Like we said last week, we were kind of giving digs at them, and now I'm gonna give them their flowers. And Zay Jones, man, you looked good for sure.
Eating his words,
Sluggo,
boys.
it's also called a sluggo.
Eating his words. Love it to put it back to Cody on the running. But I think I said you overreacted a little bit, and I'm glad that you're coming back onto your words is respectable. Look, I can't say it enough. They look good. And also Dougie P said starting next week, the starters are going to play a lot, probably 2 quarters. He said if things look sluggish, maybe longer, but they look good, look clean, I'll take them out. But yeah, they're going to be rocking and rolling so they can get. He's like, I want them to go full press, get banged up. So I think that's going to be a good week to watch and to get some more of a feel of what's going to happen, especially early on, because it's going to be their last game before the real game. So he wants them to look. You can't play that whole conservative like, oh, you don't want to get somebody to get hurt. I was just having this conversation about the Florida game. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. You can't just save it for week 1. Like it's inevitable. Like it's a bad mindset to think like you shouldn't practice or do these things because of what could happen. Well, then you're not going to be ready when it is time to happen, and you probably your likelihood of getting hurt are going to increase because you haven't been practicing and you haven't been into the motions of getting hit. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen next week. And again, with that knowledge of knowing that, hey, they're planning to play 2 quarters unless they're doing really well. So if we see them get moved off, that'll let us know. That gives us the cue that, hey, they're performing at a higher level that, Doug was anticipating. If we see them longer than that, then we have an idea of where Doug wants them to be too. So I'm excited to see how that's going to line up following next week. That's going to be a good one to watch for sure. Against Miami at home in Jacksonville.
Yeah, and for sure. And the biggest thing with that too is we're going to get to see a little one-on-ones versus the ones, and that and
Sure.
Some of the questions that we have asked is the timing better as opposed to last week, because we just saw the 2s, obviously the timing was on. So is the 1s timing on better? Who's gonna get the first carry between Tank and Trevor?
It's got to be
Travis and
Travis.
I don't know.
No way. That is gonna be funny though.
You'll wear him down. You wear him down with Tank and then put the home run hitter in.
Sure.
I mean, I'm just saying. So we'll see. We'll see.
I want to get your thoughts on this. I was arguing with my buddies yesterday. We had a fantasy football draft. There's a majority of them. They're Fin fans, and I'm not sold on Dolphins. I would like for them to do well. It's fun for them to do well. Obviously, Ricky's a big Fins fan, so I'll cheer for them when they're not playing the Jags or anybody like that. And it's a local Florida team, but I'm not bought in on it. I know they've got a ton of talent there, but part of it is I'm not sold on Tua. I'm just not. I just don't think he's the guy to put you over the edge. And I will 100% eat my words if that's the case. It's just one of those things that you can't really ever like pinpoint it. I know you got Jalen Waddle. I know you got Tyreek Hill. Okay. You had Jalen. You don't have Jalen anymore. I know you got a new head coach that's got the swagger about him. I know you got Tua out there can sling the football around and runs around. I'm just not sold on him. So we were kind of arguing. It's like, but how are you sold on the Jaguars? I want to ask you, who do you think has a better wide receiver core, Jaguars or Fins? And then defensively, who do you think is better?
I'm going Jags and Jags.
That's what I thought, right? Like I'm being a homer.
Defensively, the only question I have with the Jags is, let's get into it right now. Outside of Allen, who do you have pass rushing? And Muddy Water said it. Kevlon Chase on. Yeah, you better have a hell of a year, because this is probably going to be his last. And a guy that we talked about 6 weeks ago on the bubble, right? That may not make the team or may get cut after this year.
Sure.
And again, in preseason, we have seen nothing. When Allen is not in, the defensive pass rush is anemic, and that is the only kryptonite. And can you bring a guy in? Yeah, there's still a couple guys you can go get, but you have to go get them now.
Now,
Like
last
this
year
week,
defensively, Miami was a force to be reckoned with. So that one I could argue a little bit more, but I think wide receiver core as a whole, I get Tyreek and Jalen are absolute monsters, but after that it falls off pretty hard. And I think the Jags have a pretty consistent, just healthy core across the board.
I think they have a better offensive scheme also with spreading the ball out and the run game and everything. So
the division they're in doesn't hurt either. That's a big one. That's a big one for them.
So let's lead in this. Defensive secondary, second string looked very, very good, but after that the talent kind of fell off. So, it's one of those things where the third string secondary did not look great. They allowed some points put up against them, and so first and second string you're golden. But after that, if you get nicked up, I'm a little worried. And how do you feel about that? And then again,
cross that bridge when we
like
get
Muddy
there.
was saying. Yeah, okay. And then like Muddy said earlier, and what I put in here is outside of Allen, who's going to step up and be the next pass rusher? Because you can't just have one pass rusher in this league. He's going to get winded.
Yeah, Walker's got to step up for sure. And I think, look, some guys are going to step up, and I think we'll, how that plays out. Maybe they pull more, DB blitzes. We'll see how they counter it. Maybe take a few playbooks out of the Jets playbook. But
my God, that defensive line, we'll get to it.
We will. I know. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but look, there's definitely some flaws there, but I trust in Dougie P. I think what they've got going is a well-oiled machine. I'm excited. I think, and Muddy's saying that Aaron's going to play week 3. Seems like week 3 is going to be our first legit look into what's going on around the league. So next show should be a juicy one for that. Let's move on.
Sure.
Ready to rock for the next?
Yeah.
Is the old battle Trask versus Baker? Little lopsided there on our graphics. I'll let it slide this time. Boys, we'll see how this plays out. I'm gonna let you go first, Cody. I see your thoughts in the comments already, but I've got some news that I don't think people are gonna like.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Baker. Now Trask had a beautiful.
Go ahead.
Trask had a beautiful deep ball to Palmer today, and looked Florida-esque. Like when he threw that ball, I was like, "Oh, that's the Trask we remember." And he did a lot of things that today that I remember from Trask. But Jesus, that Jets defense wouldn't give them an inch on anything.
Swarming them.
Anything. And Trask did throw the one touchdown. Baker sat out. And this is why we'll get to the Jets defense after this. I think Baker is going to be the week 1 QB1 starter because they rested him this week.
Exactly. So their third string went down with an injury, and their second O-line was in, and they put Trask back into it because they didn't want Baker. It's on the wall. The writing's on the wall, right? They asked him about it. The Trask was warmer at the time, and we took out the line, and he was ready to go. We were going to play Baker at the end of the half, but we wanted to see Kyle in a 2-minute period, so kind of left him in and let that kind of went down. We wanted to play John in the second half. If it wasn't fair to put Baker in there without the line he had, and Trask was already warmed up. So when John got hurt, we just put him back in to finish.
I don't believe that. I just know that you got a quarterback battle. Throw Baker in there and see what he can do.
Like I said, he looked good, but I just
Trask looked okay against.
Yeah, all signs are pointing to Baker, which again, I know our Gator fans are going to be upset and say Trask looked good, but if you're afraid to put a guy in,
he looked good, but he's not. He's not.
Hey, look, if they follow the path that these other teams are doing next week, I think that'll give us a pretty good sign. I think, look, and they also need to figure out who the starter is, too, because you got to think at this point, both guys are frustrated. Teams like, what's going on? You got to make the decision pretty quickly here. And I think that next preseason game.
What would it take for Trask to win the starting job? Baker go out and throw three INTs?
In the preseason?
Yeah.
I mean, he would just have to look atrocious, but I think Baker knows, like, hey, just don't go lose the job, and probably would just be kind of just keep it pretty vanilla to not mess things up and let things roll into week one.
Now
here's where I'm concerned, because I drafted Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. The reason why they were I drafted Chris Godwin extremely late, and Mike Evans was kind of what I was stuck with. I'm not looking forward to having either of them because of this huge question mark. And I'm managing a fantasy football team in question. I imagine how the team feels, not wondering who's going to be our guy going into week one. I feel like that decision needs to happen sooner rather than later, so they can at least have a few weeks of gelling and getting him just first round reps. Now, they may have already been doing that more so. We just obviously aren't hearing about it. I think the real sign was resting Baker and not wanting to put him behind that O-line, but risking Trask out there for all of that. So,
yeah, I think it would have to take something atrocious, like a total train wreck. And I
Baker
just don't
has
think
he has in his arsenal to do that. So,
yeah, he can Browns Baker it up for sure. But I just don't see him taking the risk. I think now during the season, if he does go full INTs, I think they are not going to be having an issue with throwing Trask in there to see what they have. Now, this team is not Super Bowl bound, or I don't even know if playoff bound in that week conference too, which we'll get to later. But I just don't. I think that they will get what they get out of their quarterbacks. They'll make a decision after this year, and they'll either have a high enough draft pick to pick one high and go off of that, or they will get weapons around the incumbent starter.
Mr. Nobody says, I think it's Baker's job to lose, all bias aside. I want Trask to win it, but does that say anything about Trask's future? Yeah, like I was just about to say that. I think it's, like you just said, it's a short leash. Baker has a short leash, I think, and there's that one pro that, look, like, if we do have to go to the second guy, it isn't a complete, step back. But, yeah, does that say anything about the future? Because we going into a little bit of what we're going to talk about in just a little bit with Zach Wilson at New York, he looks really comfortable back there. Having to sit behind Aaron Rodgers just for one offseason has been huge for him. Trask had two behind Tom Brady. You got to look better than this. You shouldn't be. Look, Baker is he has his ability to be a starting quarterback. But Trask, if you can't beat out Baker Mayfield, who's at that 30th ranked starting quarterback in the league, what does that say about your future? You're basically solidifying yourself as a healthy QB2, which, guys, Florida QBs have made a career out of that. So let's not get it twisted. And he'll be just fine.
You make a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean,
you make a lot of money in the league.
And don't still rolling, baby. And old Dallas, Will Greer's out there are humming.
Who's the famous one? The one with like 15 teams under him
from Florida? It's Shane Matthews.
No. It's not. He's not from Florida. I can't remember his name. Ask in the chat. Who's the backup QB that has been everywhere? And he has like 15 kids, and they all have individual jerseys for all his teams.
Yes. Gosh, I know who you're talking about. He was a pretty solid. He was a solidified backup. Look, nothing wrong with that. It's just I don't. If you can't beat out the 32nd, 30th, 31st, and that's where Baker sits right now to be the starting job after sitting behind. You got to do what I say every rookie quarterback should do, is sit behind somebody, and you sat behind the greatest quarterback to ever live, and you're not
either you didn't pay attention.
Yeah, or you just don't got it. You just don't have what it takes. Jimmy G obviously took it and ran with it. So we'll see. Teddy Bridgewater? No, Teddy Bridgewater hasn't had that many teams. Real quick, Teddy Bridgewater rocking the number 50, I think it was, as a quarterback.
Didn't it?
Guy, it's so stupid. The number thing hasn't looked like completely awful, right? Like a few linemen having it is kind of weird.
Teddy did it.
What's that?
Till Teddy did it.
Yeah, like he overdid it.
Teddy with the 50. Yeah.
It was like I was like, what's going on back there? Like,
it's not Fitzpatrick. It's somebody else.
Is it Josh McCown? It's Josh McCown. God, I'm good.
Yes. Josh McCown. Yes. For
tip
sure.
My tongue. That's who it is. You're welcome, boys. Drop a like.
Tyrod Taylor. Yeah, Tyrod's been on a lot of teams too, Coach Stokes.
But yeah,
not as many as Josh McCown.
Yeah, Josh McCown was solidified. Gorgeous looking man too, by the way. I think he was on. Wasn't he just on Hard Knocks?
Yeah.
I thought so. But yeah, we'll see. Look, guys, just to burst any bubbles here, I know Gator fans, y'all get rowdy at us with upside with this too, that we don't want Trask to be the guy. It's just, he's not going to be unless Baker. I want him to be the guy. He's not taking it. He's got to go take it. He's got to go. For the fact that we're having a conversation, the fact that there's an argument about it, tells you that he's not doing what he needs to be doing. Rookie roundup. The boys were out there slinging it around. CJ made a bounce back. Bryce had some bounce backs. Stetson, Will injured. Stop it. Typical Will Levis fashion. What's going on there, man?
D-ball and melting the cup didn't help him. All that extra muscle didn't help him. He's hurt. Will Levis is hurt. Bryce Young didn't play a whole lot. He did go 3 for 6, and I wasn't sure if he was knitting back there or whatever, but calm, cool, collective in the pocket like usual, and 3 for 6 for 35 yards. He's going to be your day one starter there in South Carolina. Everybody knows that. They don't really have anything behind him, but it's one of those things where I wish only 3 for 6. He only played 2 drives. I wish they would give him a little more. Now, the big upswing is C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud looked vastly improved. 7 for 12, 60 yards. He looked less rattled, more comfortable in the pocket, less deer in the headlights like he looked last week. I mean, last week was absolutely atrocious, right?
Yeah, I think out of the 3 between, because like Stetson's not going to start, neither is Will. CJ, Bryce, and Anthony, it's their team to lose. I think early on, CJ is going to look the most established and have the most success. That's my take. I think, even though I know he had a rough week 1, just the fact that he bounced back already, I feel like, and that team's it's not as in shambles, in my opinion, as the other 2 are. The Carolina sold out to go get Bryce Young. Indy is it feels like a self-induced drama. And Houston, I mean, they got Dameon Pierce back there. They've got some wide receivers that they're figuring out, but they showed some light last year, in my opinion, to be a little bit of a threat. So with that, I think that team isn't as far off. What's going to be fun is them versus Anthony. That's going to be a hell of a showdown. That's going to be so fun to watch.
For sure.
And so that's my thing.
It is going to be
they played each other twice. CJ goes 2-0.
It is going to be a long, bumpy road, Texans fan. So
I think for all 3 of those teams,
it's going to be
patience is going to be key. Yeah,
patience is going to be key. And then let's break into old Stetson Bennett. You know, he got so Stetson Bennett got brought back to earth today or this weekend. You know, he went 15, 24, 142. That sounds great. Minus the pick 6. That eventually,
how many throws did he have?
Was his failure. 15 for 24, 142 yards, and a costly pick 6.
Biggest thing is, buddy's getting more reps than any of them, and he already has 1,000 more reps than all of them. You know what I mean? I mean,
for sure, but the pick 6 is not good. You can't do that. That is detrimental. That'll get you benched faster than anything. And I don't know if this is a real fight for a starting job.
No, not over Matty Stat. No way. I think it's solidifying his position. But I think the one thing that he has, I think you're overreacting a little bit with the pick 6. But I hear what you were saying. I think he has the bandwidth to shake it off. As if it happened to one of the other 3 guys, I think it'd be a little bit more detrimental. So I wouldn't think anything of it.
We just had a pick 6 the other day, a couple weeks ago. They're in practice.
Bro, practice. I think we won't be talking much of Stetson and Will this year, is my point. After this, I think the rookie roundup's gonna limit to 3. So we'll have fun with the Stetson show right now. But look, now Statty's kind of old. Who knows? Something could happen.
Matt Stafford did have a severe nerve neck injury, and I haven't seen a whole lot of him. And we're not 100% sure if he's 100% yet.
I think he's good. I hope so. I drafted Tyler Higbee, and for that reason, as my second tight end, by the way.
Well, I don't care what you drafted. I'm just saying that we haven't seen a lot of them.
What happened? Yeah. Moving on to Hard Knocks here. Episode 2, came out, and we saw a little bit of taste of the real Aaron Rodgers coming to life.
For sure, man. Let's
Get
start with this.
spicy.
Yeah. So the head coach, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his name because I'll get just slaughtered on here in the comments. But he said we're missing a piece. I just don't know what it is. We're missing a piece, and then they go sign Dalvin Cook like 3 days later after that episode aired. So is Dalvin Cook the missing piece that he was looking for?
It could be, but he absolutely in that episode just wrecked.
We're gonna get to that.
Oh, sorry.
But offensively, weapon-wise, he said we are missing something.
I think Dalvin Cook is a huge.
Is.
I think Dalvin Cook is a huge addition, and he dropped low on the draft boards. I think obviously just due to him being off and being slotted into a new team, that scares some people. Is Dalvin Cook, boys and girls. Boy can run. I've seen him go
and catch.
Blow a kneecap. 2 weeks later, he's still putting 2-3 tutties and 150 yards. He's like a Derrick Henry. The buddy runs. He's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
I know Breece Hall's great, and everyone's excited about him. For the fact that people were drafting Breece Hall before him, it's crazy to me. I think Dalvin Cook is an absolute steal for the Jets. I don't know how nobody else didn't pick him up for $8 million. Maybe there's something there we don't know because I know he is questionable currently. I don't know what his injury is, but I don't know.
Yeah, so he had the shoulder surgery. He's still recouping from that.
Okay, so maybe there's a little reason for concern there. Okay.
So it only took $1 extra million because the Vikings gave him $7 million on the table. So
are you pissed as a Vikings fan? Are you upset that they let him go for $1 million?
A little bit, yeah. I'm especially with the running back room the way it is now. I wish they would have just signed him for $8 million and been done with it, but it is what it is. And I think the thing that irritates me the most about Dalvin Cook is that they told him to have the shoulder surgery and then they cut him. I just feel that's kind of greasy. It's kind of grimy. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But let's get on this. Aaron Rodgers shows his true colors. Not happy with the O-line, not happy with the center, and just frustrated and the old grumpy, condescending. How do you say it when you say something, but it's I'm trying to think of the word. I can't think of it, but just typical Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers fashion. Passive aggressive, yes. I think that the cupcake stage is over. The honeymoon is done.
Yeah.
And
like
he got in the coach's ass a little
Aaron
bit.
Rodgers is fun. He's cool. He's laughing until he starts getting his ass hit every damn play. He's like, listen here, mother. But even coaches
he went after the coach on it.
Yeah. Coaches ripping him too afterwards. He was talking about watching the film, silent film, and seeing what they truly are. And it's like, you guys effing suck, basically. Kind of fired a little fire under their ass. So we'll see how that plays out. Look, their defense is going to be a force to be reckoned with. And that's what kept them in games last year. And the whole reason for going out and getting Aaron Rodgers was to combat that, which you would think would make them an immediate Super Bowl contender because of how good that defense, it literally carried them last year. And you look at the quarterbacks that played last year was just atrocious. But now maybe Zach was running for his life every damn play, and without, veteran experience, it just definitely unfolded a lot worse. But they've got to lock it in. When you've got somebody like Aaron Rodgers and now you've got Dalvin Cook, they're building a super team. They're playing Madden 24 franchise over there. Like, you've got two first round steals with Sauce and Garrett Wilson, right? So you would kill for two players like that. Then you go get a veteran quarterback, top quarterback in the league.
The D-line is the best in the league. I'm going to say this. The Jets' defense is the best in the league that I've seen so far. Well, I called you.
Yeah,
I called you and was
I
like,
drafted
bro.
him last night for this exact reason. I've been seeing him on practice. I know what's going on. I've been watching Hard Knocks. I told the boys when they're giving me shit because I drafted him. I was like, you clearly haven't been watching Hard Knocks because, and I know it's whatever. And I know they're in a tough division, but they're good. They're just good.
We saw him against Tampa, and I called you and was like, bro, this defense is unreal. 85 Bear-esque.
So what I thought of too is because their head coach, he was the defensive coordinator for the 49ers. And Mike McDaniels for the Dolphins was the offensive coordinator. Two just great minds. I'm thinking now. We haven't seen enough yet, but could they be in the Muschamp era, right, where the defense is just so good, but he just can't seem to get it figured out on offense. He just doesn't have the. You figure with the NFL, you would hire the right guy to do that, right? Obviously, I'm reaching here, but it just kind of reminded me of that Muschamp era where we were just so good every year at defense, but we couldn't figure it out on the other side, no matter what was back there. I don't think they should have that issue, but I would like to tie it to something if I could.
Yeah, they are deadly, and I can't wait to see them week 1.
I can't wait to see we have episode 3 coming out. Dalvin should be on that, and then Aaron playing week 3. Probably we'll see Dalvin, so we'll get a little bit of a taste of that preseason, which will also be on Hard Knocks. So we're gonna get a lot to see here for that division. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be real fun. Wait. All right, last but not least, boys and girls, before we leave you on your merry way, and make sure you guys drop a like, is hold them and fold them.
Oh,
do we have a track record of? Do we have
yeah, you haven't hit once. Real fast. I do want to say this. Prayers out to cornerback Isaiah Bolden that was hospitalized after a hit to So essentially what happened was he was playing a regular play and got hit in the head by his teammate and went down, and he had no feelings in his legs and his arms. Very scary. And that he later got those extremities back working at the hospital. He is a JSU 7th round pick. He was a standout at JSU, and he was probably going to make the team over there at the Patriots. And it's just unfortunate. They canceled the rest of the game after that hit and postponed it, but they're going to cancel it. And it's just prayers out to him and his family, and hopefully he recovers well. You know, we love to watch it, but when something like this happens, it wasn't even a big hit. It was just a freak accident. That's usually how this works. It was just a freak accident. He ran into his own player, and
what sucks too, because again, when he got drafted, Coach Prime was upset that more guys from JSU weren't drafted, and just to be able to have that much carry on from JSU. It's huge. It's huge for that program. So, yeah, prayer to Isaiah and his family for sure on a speedy recovery. My bad. I went right over it. So hold on. You said I've lost all my hold'ems. We haven't even got into the season yet.
Well, you've already lost them. You didn't pick the Jets for the Super Bowl, so it's over.
I know. Can I pick my hand back up?
Them.
All right.
Yeah.
What do we got?
All right. So we got the Saints winning the South and making a playoff game. Key improvement is Derek Carr, Holden, or Folden.
I got to hold it, man. That division is just so up and all. Yeah, because it's the Falcons with Desmond Ridder. It's the quarterbackless Bucks, and we just got finished talking about how the Panthers aren't going to get it done. So it's theirs to lose.
That might be your one. That might be the one that you win.
That was the easy one, and I appreciate it. I feel like if I lose that one, I should just quit doing this. But if I lose that one, there's something else wrong, and we missed something.
Yeah. So I gave you heaters right off the bat, and I wanted to throw you a softball. Next is going to be a heater. Raiders making a wild card game and finishing second in the AFC West. Key improvement, Jimmy G.
So making a playoff game?
Yeah, they have to win. So essentially make a wild card game and win, because you're going to get a wild card game if you're second in the AFC West. Now go look at the AFC West.
Yeah, I was about to say the AFC West is the Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers, so they're going to finish in dead last. I'll hold my cards and they finish in dead last. I'll double down and I'll raise you that they finish dead last. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Broncos?
Yeah.
You have that much faith in the Broncos?
Oh, yeah. I am a firm believer in Sean Payton. I don't think Sean talks his talk, but he walks his walk. And until he proves me otherwise, I feel like they've had enough time to get it together in Las Vegas, and they have not. And that division is going to be a dogfight. Chiefs are going to be up there 1-2 easy. Chargers, They are not shying away this year. They are pissed about that loss to the Jaguars. And yes, the Broncos will 100% beat out the Raiders without a shadow of a doubt. It was the easiest one you've given me the entire time. I'll double down on it. Last place.
Back to the cellar is what you're saying.
Sure.
Silver and gold back to silver and black back to the cellar dweller.
Yeah, move back to Oakland.
Another West Coast team here, 49ers. They win the NFC West, and they make it to the NFC Championship game. Key improvements, beefed up defense, and free agency.
Yeah, that was an already nasty defense. So Cardinals going to be worst team in the division. The Rams are in a weird place. They won like 3 games last year, but they had Matty Stat was out all year.
Yeah.
The defense, it's not what it was, and they were heavy on defense. But Matty Stat coming back gives them some love, but I still don't think that makes them competitive over the Niners because I think Brock Purdy's going to get to play, and we saw what Brock did last year. So that was their biggest reason.
Purdy with the leg.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think they make a run to the Super Bowl if Purdy doesn't get hurt, to be honest with you. And I preach that's they're a system team. You just need somebody back there who doesn't screw it up. They got C-Mac. The Seahawks, Seahawks love Pete Carroll, love what they do out there. Not sold on Geno Smith. That's why I thought Will Levis would be a perfect fit. I think Geno Smith has been a phenomenal backup quarterback. I think he has made leaps and bounds, and he is a solidified starter. I just don't think in that division he gets it done. So I like it. I'll hold on that, on the Niners getting it done. They've been there for the last 3 years, and nothing's changed. No, they never had a rock star at quarterback. And I love Jimmy G, but Jimmy G isn't taking you to the Holy Lands either, right? I mean, he's not like a guy that you go out and, unless you're the Raiders. But for the fact that they went 1-2-3 and that team didn't budge tells me that the quarterback play is the least of their concerns. And they went out there and made a defense that was already an elite defense, more elite. And now you've had a full year of C-Mac under your belt, who's hopefully, if he stays healthy, my goodness gracious, great balls of fire. George Kittle, need him to stay healthy. Muddy says Seahawks are winning the division. Look, I don't hate them for that. I agree. Look, they won 9 games last year. They were a young team trying to get things figured out. I love me some Pete Carroll. I love to see. It's like a soft spot for Seattle, especially when Marshawn Lynch was there. I'd give it to me one time. But yeah, I think I'm holding on the Niners. I like that pick. That was a good question. I love that. That was good.
Yeah,
best one yet.
And we will have another hold 'em and fold 'em next week for you here on High Top Sports.
Definitely my favorite segment. I think I enjoy it. I like being put on the spot. Can we need to keep a tracker though? Do you have that? I think we need to be able to have like a look back.
I do have a little bit of a tracker going.
So I can't flip my Jets pick. I feel like there's been enough time.
Maybe I'll throw the Jets back in.
What was the question? Because the Jets was they make the Super Bowl, right? I'll still fold on it. If I'm going to be wrong, I'm still folding.
You just said it. You said you want it back. And then
the division is just so good. The division is just so good. I can't. It's just like I said, the odds of them making it are less than not making it.
We are so pumped for football. 2 weeks away.
Bring it to me, baby.
We're going to be doing a double header on Sundays. We're going to do a college recap, and
it's going to be long. Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a time. I don't know if you saw my early show, but did you hear me say about what's going on with Swamp Kings?
No, so I've been working on the farm all day. I'm going to have to rewatch it. I'm sorry.
It's going to be four-part series, 4 hours long.
Woo!
Buckle up, boys. Buckle up.
It's going to be good.
Boys and girls. Question: which coach gets canned first? Does McVay leave the Rams?
I said it. That's my bet. If the Rams do not, yeah, I think he will. I think he'll like take a leave of absence, like what what's his name did.
Yeah, the situation's weird out there. He kind of like skyrocketed to the top. They had their season of Hard Knocks, which I loved that season. Won the Super Bowl and then kind of just been in a weird place of limbo.
Yeah, if it doesn't go good this year, I think he takes a leave of absence for a year or two.
That is a good question though. Which coach gets canned first? Who's in the hot spot? Who's in the hot seat?
We'll have to do some research.
Yeah, that could be a segment for next week.
Muddy, we'll save that for next week, Muddy. Thanks.
Yeah, that's a good one. I haven't really looked too much into that. Obviously, you always got to put the first year head coaches on the bubble, just cause. But yeah, I like that. Good question, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, boys and girls, be good. Be safe. Happy Sunday. Make sure you guys drop a like. Say thank you for stopping by. As always, love you guys. Be good. Until next time, I'm Sheldon. And that's Cody the professor.
I'm Cody the professor.
Boogity.
Don't wanna sleep in, 'cause I got something to prove. I gotta